Last night's edition of Smackdown Live continued with the second half of the Superstar shakeup that saw a number of WWE superstars from Raw, NXT and 205 Live transferring over to the Blue brand. Whilst we made a more definitive list on our previous video where we delved into the possibility of each wrestler who made the move and whether it was good for their wrestling career or not, Tuesday Night SmackDown has 9 new additions to its roster. Surprisingly, the reigning Intercontinental Champion Finn Balor, who we thought would be immune from any transfers due to holding one of Raw's championships, still made the move, and it seems like SmackDown will now have 2 secondary titles that it can showcase on weekly nights. This time, in another non-title match, the Demon King managed to pick up the win, defeating Mustafa Ali with the coup de grace. Whilst we hope WWE hasn't soured on Mustafa Ali, it's a good indication that WWE might have big plans for Andrade, as he managed to defeat Balor on Raw. But at the same time, nobody who has made the move has suffered a defeat this week. WWE's monster heel Lars Sullivan, who we initially thought was drafted to Raw, appeared last night, giving R-Truth a severe beatdown, with WWE making it official that Sullivan is now exclusive to SmackDown Live. Seems like they couldn't have 2 Braun Strowmans on one brand. Bayley, Ember Moon and Kairi Sane all moved to SmackDown Live as well, as they appeared all in the same segment and argued who should get a title opportunity. Former SmackDown Live General Manager Paige also made it official that Sane would be teaming with Asuka. Hopefully this isn't an indication that Asuka is going further down the pecking order, but hopefully a tag team championship reign might still do good for both. The 3 new additions teamed together with Asuka and defeated Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville and the Iconics. Now, we understand that WWE had to make the newcomers look strong by getting the win, but it's odd that the WWE would choose to have its tag champions take the pinfall. On Monday night, Zack Ryder was the one to take the pinfall from Ivar from the Viking Experience. Later on in the night, Billie Kay took the pin from Naomi, and last night, Peyton Royce took the pinfall from Kairi Sane. Why? There are non-champions on the team that could take the pinfall, and at the same time, still make their champions look strong. With 2 consecutive losses this week, things really don't look good for the Iconics. Anyway, former Cruiserweight champion Buddy Murphy was another acquisition to SmackDown Live, and like Cedric Alexander, only hyped with a promo package. Another casual mention that we omitted in our previous video was the new addition of Liv Morgan after she announced on Twitter that she would be moving to SmackDown Live. This means that they have officially split up the Riot Squad. Hopefully WWE has bigger plans for either Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan or Liv Morgan, as splitting them up may have been a wrong decision, as this was the only opportunity WWE had to use the Freebird rule with the Women's Tag Team Championship, and it seems that they've dropped the ball on it. After the main event match, it was now time for Vince McMahon to announce his biggest acquisition to SmackDown Live, and to the fans' dismay, it turned out to be the Drifter Elias, who has now moved his musical performances to Tuesday nights. However, Elias was not the last wrestler to move over to the brand. It was the big dog Roman Reigns who interrupted the 2 in the ring. Reigns gave Elias a beatdown and a sweet Superman punch to the face. Vince started yelling at Reigns and proceeded to get a Superman punch for his troubles too. Reigns proclaimed that SmackDown is now his yard, finishing Elias with a spear. But why? Why has Roman Reigns moved over to the Blue brand, and why did he go so far as to attack the chairman? Well, most of it comes down to keeping the WWE Universe on Roman's side, as had he stayed on Monday Night Raw, he could have quite easily earned the opportunity to face Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. This would have no doubt led to negative reactions from the crowd. But most forget that Reigns is rightfully the #1 contender, as after all, he didn't lose the championship. He was forced to drop it, and as a result, the title was left vacant. It's certainly clear that Vince wants a championship back on the shoulders of Reigns, as he sees him as the chosen one. However, had he challenged Seth Rollins for the belt on Raw, Reigns would have been booed heavily by fans, leaving the WWE the only option of possibly turning him heel. They just simply don't want to do that yet, or rather Vince doesn't want to do that yet, as like John Cena, Reigns appeals to a much younger demographic of WWE fans and his merchandise sells like crazy. Turning heel would make sales virtually non-existent. Plus, with the addition of AJ Styles to the Red brand, Raw would have far too many top babyfaces. Thus, if they didn't want him to be booed so soon after his return by having him go after the championship, it would be better to move him off the brand entirely and eventually chase the WWE Championship instead. This won't be for a while though, as Reigns again would be booed to oblivion for challenging Kofi Kingston. As like Rollins, he's one of the biggest babyfaces on the brand. It's been said countless times that Roman Reigns is the WWE's most polarizing wrestler in wrestling history, as despite backlash from fans, Vince always places Reigns at the forefront of WWE, whether it be on major or minor pay-per-views, or putting him over a number of superstars who probably deserve the spot more than him. Many fans weren't invested into Reigns because of his limitations in the ring as both a wrestler and his character coming off as cheesy and uninteresting at times. Unless the WWE hands him the baton and lets him move away from scripted and unimaginative promos, there could be a better chance for him to legitimately get on the side of fans for the foreseeable future. After Reigns returned from battling leukemia, the WWE Universe supported him and was overwhelmed with joy as he announced his leukemia was back in remission. WWE took a safe bet when they had the Shield reform, knowing that the fans will continue to cheer Reigns as long as he's beside fan favourites. However, with the Shield now disbanded due to the departure of Dean Ambrose, it could sadly mean that eventually he'll be booed again, especially if he entered into a feud with Seth Rollins and took the Universal Championship off him. With Reigns now on Smackdown Live, it moves him away from the possibility of the feud whilst also throwing in new heels for Reigns to slay on SmackDown. This might include the monster Lars Sullivan, Randy Orton and many others who could be potential opponents for the big dog. In addition to the new heels, one of the biggest that could make a regular appearance on SmackDown is Vince McMahon, who will no doubt hinder the chance of Reigns fighting for the gold in every possible way. Having Reigns knock out the Boss was a great way for the two to set up a feud. You might yawn at the idea of another authority feud, but this could be interesting. Reigns has even admitted himself that he's been on Raw for far too long and needs fresh surroundings. He mentioned in an interview after his appearance on SmackDown, "I haven't been a part of this show and this program for a while. I've been on Raw. I've always focused on Raw. So I think if you're going to move me to SmackDown, you got to do it in the biggest fashion possible. So what better way to come in and punch the boss's jaw loose? To be able to just dive right back in the deep end and swim with the sharks is nice." Let's also not forget that WWE made a major deal with Fox last year to bring SmackDown Live to its network. With such a major deal, Fox demanded a number of changes to the brand and its overall presentation of the show. Its superstar shakeup has most likely been the first step to making big changes before it premieres on 4th October this year. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Fox network officials reportedly want SmackDown to show less comedy and to take more of a sports direction. Fox is including SmackDown as part of their new sports block of programming, which will run Thursday through Sunday in 2019, and they want some changes made to the product. Vince McMahon is said to be more into the comedy presentation with wrestling. It was reported back when WWE signed the deal with Fox that the network wanted to do a lot of cross-promoting with other sports programs they have. Fox wants to have some of their sports stars and personalities appear on various shows to heavily promote the block, and they want to give them something athletically orientated to promote according to the Observer. Likewise, if Fox wants WWE to promote some of its shows, it could use Roman Reigns as he's one of the biggest stars and personalities on the brand. Let's not forget, in addition to this, that Reigns was a former football player, something that no doubt integrates into what Fox is looking for. But what do you think of Roman Reigns making the move to SmackDown? What did you think of the superstar shakeup overall? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.